this computer. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, thank you guys for joining our Overdose Awareness Day listening session. This is being sponsored and presented by the Winnebago County ROSC and the Near South Side ROSC. So thank you all so much. We're going to move right along into introductions. If you can just type your name and organization, title, email, phone number in the chat room. Obviously, if you're at work or something like that and you can't do it, don't worry about doing that. Okay. But I'm Gloria Crowell. I am the community coordinator for the Near South Side ROSC. I am with EDDR. We are the leading agency for the Near South Side ROSC. Okay. And then I'm just going to move down the list and everybody could just say their name. Okay. Next, Ms. Sherrod.
Hi, my name is Jackie.
Hi. Next, Everett.
I'm Everett Wilson.
Okay. Everett and Jackie are going to be two of our guest speakers today. Next, Miracle.
Hi, I'm Miracle Cooper. I'm with Ross here in the Rockford area.
Thank you. Next, we're going to have Ben. I believe Ben is next.
Hey there, Ben Rudolph, Region 2, Statewide ROSC Technical Assistant.
Thank you. Eric.
Good morning, everyone. Eric Williams. I'm the the site manager here in Winnebago County.
Thank you. Richard.
Richard Springs, Ross Outreach in Winnebago County.
Thank you. Danny. Not sure if you
Hey
can come
everyone, my name is Danny Sorbis. I'm from DuPage ROSC and Serenity House.
Thank you. Keenan.
Hi, my name is Keenan Mayo. I'm near Southside ROSC in Chicago.
Thank you so much. I think I got everybody. We're going to move along with our session today for the sake of time. We have 4 guest speakers, and we're going to get ready to jump right into it right now. Okay, and we're going to start with our first guest speaker. Once again, today is Overdose Awareness Day. And so our guest speakers are going to be sharing their stories, and I'm really excited. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here as our guest speaker. We really appreciate every one of you. So thank you again. And we're going to start with Miss Jacqueline Sherrod. She's going to give her story.
Hi, family. My name is Jackie, and I'm a member of AA. My dry date is March the 1st, 2001. I've been clean and sober for 22 years. I'll just tell you a little bit. She told me we have 7 minutes. So I have my timer on. You got your timer on, Gloria?
I can turn it on now.
Please. As I stated, 22 years clean. I tell you just a little bit about my family. I come from literally an alcoholic family. When they say the apple does not fall far from the tree, I have a small family from me, my mother, my grandparents, and my great-great-grandparents. They all had 1, 2, 3 kids, and each sibling are all gone due to the cirrhosis of liver. So when I came into recovery in 2001, after my mother passed in 1999, and today is her birthday, I had enough. I surrendered. I came in and I got busy working on self and to identify and to find out, was I really an alcoholic? Well, being clean and sober, working all 12 steps, I now believe and was an alcoholic. I remember my first drink. I was 8 years old, and I remember my last drink. Um, it was a 40-ounce Big Bear beer at 5:15 a.m. in the morning, and that's when I surrendered, and I went to HRID, and I started my recovery from there. I'm truly grateful for my sponsor who helped me to identify what this disease is really about because I didn't believe I was an alcoholic only because I just didn't know that I was an alcoholic. But coming around these rooms and listening to other people share their experience, strength, and hope, I realized and identified once I did my fourth step I learned all about me. I'm grateful that I was chosen for this program. I know so many people that tried to get it, and it says in the book, this is not for everyone. Everyone cannot or will not uh, get this program. You know, we were chosen for those who ones are here. It's one of my sayings and the promises. And moving forward, once I came in and turned my life around, I came in with nothing, absolutely nothing. But now today, I have everything that I can only imagine in my lifetime. I have my family, I have 6 beautiful grandkids, I have an awesome daughter in law. And I'm just grateful that none of my grandkids saw me in my madness. Uh, and the one that did, he would know because he was 5 when I came in. But I started identifying and understanding this program and what it has to offer. I got my driver's license. I ended up getting my own apartment. I got my first apartment. I was 10 months clean. And from there, I just started blossom. I got my GED in 2007. I end up getting an awesome job. And I'm still here at my job. I'm a security officer. I started as a security officer and now I'm a site supervisor. And I know it's only through the grace and his mercy that God prepared me, shaped me up, and got my life together. I'm so grateful, even in this program. I have to say this, and I say this in every lead that I give. I had a son. I have a daughter and a son, but I put my son up. He was 2 weeks old. I signed the paper, but through this program in 2013, God brought my son to me. And that is the most blessing that I can ever have. I have heard other people share their spirit, strength, and hope and tell how they got their kids back and things of that nature. And God brought my son back to me, and we're inseparable, and it's the best thing could have ever happened in my life. And I have a family that truly do love me. And I know it was only through his grace and mercy that I am still clean, still working on me, and willing to help any other suffering addict that's out there and the neighbor. With that, I'll keep coming back.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sherrod.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. And once again, thank you for taking the time out. I know you have a busy schedule. And I hope we can have you back again for maybe something else that we're going to be doing in the future.
Sure.
Thank
Absolutely. I'm going to come off the camera, but I'm going to listen to you guys because I got to get dressed.
Okay.
I got some things to do. So I'm going to take me off the camera and I'm going to mute myself, but I can hear the other people talking. Is that okay?
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you. We're going to move right by. We're going to move right along. We're going to move right along to Everett Wilson. You can go ahead.
Hey, my name is Everett. I'm an alcoholic and an addict, and I attend ENA and AA meetings. I think that if I'm in water over my head and I can't swim, then I'll drown. So it really doesn't matter to me who throws me a life preserver. I presently work at a safe haven for EDDR and a whole lot of other different stuff. it's amazing that the topic has to deal with overdose, because the other day I got to experience an individual for the first time actually overdosing. Actually, he had passed, he had turned blue, and my coworkers and I were working furiously on him, doing the training that we had just had probably a month ago with the CPR. So we were doing chest compressions, mouth to mouth. Initially, one other guy was doing like the mouth to mouth, and I never saw his stomach move. So I took over the chest compressions and the mouth compressions. I mean, the mouth to mouth. Saw his stomach moving. He started stirring. They hit him 4 or 5 times with the Narcan. So, man, it's a miracle that we brought him back to life. It's just amazing. I say that, God used women to assist him with bringing life forth. Man, he actually assisted us with basically almost a resurrection, because the guy was gone, man, and we never gave up. We never gave up, and that's the beauty of the program. It's never giving up, never, regardless of what the other people have to say, never taking their comments as fact. Their opinion is not my reality. The people gave up on me. They said I would never get it, that I would someone would kill me, or I spend the rest of my life in prison, and none of that happened. My behavior might have said that that's what was going to happen, but they didn't figure God into the equation. I'm grateful. It says that we have to be fit to be a maximum service. And I think, like in the prompt, it says that no matter how far down the scale you have gone, you will see how your experience can benefit others. And I think that that's what God just basically fit me for this assignment, to work with other people, to help other people. They say that meet the person where they're at, but a lot of time we have the tendency to think that we have to bring the people have to start up here where we are. Well, we have to get down there where the people are at, meet them where they're at, show them how to get out of that hole that they've been in. That's why I think that God got me. I don't know about everyone else. He got me up out of that gutter, not to look down, but to help someone else get up out the gutter. They say that alcoholics and addicts are the most gifted and talented people in the world. They are the only ones that God can get up out of the gutter, and they still have the ability to look down on someone. I don't know what it takes. I don't know who's going to get it. I don't know. I go into it as though everyone can get it. I don't know who's going to get it. The guys that I think are going to get it don't. The ones that I think won't get it will. So I just fall back and try to help everyone the best that I can. I've got like 6,340 days or so much, or so clean and sober. But I take it one day at a time. I'm not really focused on the years, because I don't have access to the years. I have access to the days. So I take it one day, one thought at a time, because in that thought is my choice. The guy that OD'd, his girlfriend had just quit him. He went to court. He thought that he was going to get released. He didn't. All kind of things were happening to him that day. So he said those two words, F it. I don't think, I know that he wasn't out to kill himself, but every time we pick up, it's a suicide. I mean, marijuana, everything has fentanyl on it now. So whatever we put into our systems, especially alcohol, we think that alcohol is fine because it's legal, but it kills more people than all other drugs combined. I remember working for EDR. We were on 103rd. I was on my way to pick up some guys from 79th Street that was getting registered for the program. And there was some things that I wanted to do, but I thought that I couldn't do them because of my background. And no one's in the car with me but God. So God says, do you see the rearview mirror? And I said, yeah, I see the rearview mirror. He said, the rearview mirror represents everything I've allowed you to go through: the incarcerations, the bumps in the sidewalks, the cracks in the sidewalk, the potholes, everything I've allowed you to experience. He says, do you see the windshield? I tell him, yeah, I see the windshield. He says, the windshield represents everywhere where I'm taking you. He said, do you see how big the windshield is compared to the rearview mirror? I said, yeah, I see. He said, where I'm taking you is way bigger than where you've been, but you can't get to where I'm taking you because you keep looking at where you've been. I try to motivate the individual, inspire the individual, tell them a little bit about myself to let them know that hope is real, faith is real, faith is the substance of things hoped for. So I try to instill in them that if I can get this thing, if I have not activated N90442, there's a chance for them, because I was actually, to me, worse than everyone. And hearing other people's story helps me. You know, meeting makers, they say, make it. But there was this guy in the big book who wanted to be successful. It said that he saw that he would get nowhere if he drank at all. So that lets me know that if I'm using, I'm not going to get anywhere at all, because every day I'm going to be trying to hit a lick. Every day my whole focus is going to be on using. It says that he saw that he would get nowhere if he drank at all, because once he started, he had no control, whatever. I know that once I get started, my only thing that I've been doing for 6,340 days is not picking up the first one, not giving myself the opportunity to have a Narcan shot, to have someone apply chest compressions or mouth to mouth. I just continue to avoid the first one and try to instill in everyone else that all they have to do, the cure is not picking up the first one. So I'm just glad to be a part of EDDR. I've been a part of EDDR now for quite a few years. I like the fact that they are involved in helping people. That's what I think God has for me to do. It says that for God so loved the world that he gave. You know, everyone that say, yeah, it's only begotten son. No, we don't have to go that far. For God so loved the world that he gave, and we can't give anything greater than ourselves. I thank you guys for letting me share.
Thank you, Everett. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, as always. I love hearing Everett speak. So thank you so much for taking the time again, because I know you're a very busy individual as well. So I definitely appreciate you.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move right on to Richard Springs.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Springs, and I am an addict. Real quick, to sum it all up, I'm just real grateful to have this opportunity to be here. My grandfather used to tell me this all the time, and I never knew what it meant. He said, if you wake up with the same problem. I'm sorry? Hello?
You're there,
Yes.
Rich.
Okay, yeah, my grandfather had this saying. He always used to say, if you wake up with the same problems that you went to bed with and don't have any new ones, you batting 1,000. So I tend to believe in that. I came to Rockford, Illinois in 2001 through treatment, did the recovery houses and everything. And due to that direct results, I am an active member in the Narcotics Anonymous. Well, actually in the sobriety community. I worked for Rosecrans, a treatment center as well. To give you a little about my story, I'm from the city of Chicago, West Side. Born and raised, did a whole bunch of things. I don't do the drug law. And one of my things is, and I like what Everett said, my recovery is in the moment. My recovery is in the moment. I don't try to do it 2 days. That's almost like saying, Gloria, I'm going to be mad at you in the next 3 weeks. I cannot predict that. So what I'm going to do in the moment, that's what I try to operate on. There's no success level with my recovery. I just do it still one day at a time. I've met some awesome people in this process. I do a lot of speaking, and my drug of choice was, well, I'm not going to even mention that, but the drug of choice that I chose took me to some real dark places. And today I'm not in those dark places. It would be a blessing if I left here today after speaking and went and got my DOC and died. Because only thing I'm scared of is that it works me for another 40 years. That's my worst fear of being a recovering addict, is relapsing. I don't knock nobody for it, and I know it does happen, but it does not have to happen. I stay in practice. Over the course of my recovery. I meet with individuals. I have sponsees. In 7 minutes, I can't tell you my past. I remember the last time I used. I don't know if y'all still go by this, but I just did a sting and got like 1,700 bucks, and within 5 hours I was flat broke. And I remember walking and saying to myself, if I didn't have to go to the county jail, I would walk straight back into the penitentiary. And I wasn't still done. I wasn't still done. I went on a couple of more things, and that's how I came about Narcotics Anonymous. It was in the IDOC, and it has helped me, and it's continued to help me. And Everett, you did make another strong point. We are God's grace and mercy in action. And I don't want to disrespect that on no level. I have a loving family. I have a wife, a son, which the recovery has allowed me to obtain. I have some good friends. Today I can be counted as a friend. I just, in fact, real quick, my mother, when I was in active addiction, if we was walking on the same side of the street, she would cross over. And today, my mother is in my house. I have relocated her from Cincinnati, Ohio, and she lives with me now. And I was the bad seed out of. I'm the oldest of 5 children. I had a sister who just died this past a year ago in July from active addiction. They found her in Chicago on someone's back porch, unresponsive, and they did the Narcan. And by the time she made it to the hospital, she was no more. So I really, really, really am blessed to be here. And I always tell anybody, even when life is hard and I'm going through the ups and downs, just because we clean doesn't mean that we don't have hard times or bad moments. But if you ever been hooked up to an EKG machine, ever seen it, when it's going up and down, that means you're alive. When it's just going flatlining, that means you're dead. So I thank God for the ups and downs in my life, because it allows me to know that I am alive. Because when I was using, it was straight flatlining every day, all day, getting, the means and ways to find one more. That was more exciting. The drugs were just 10%. And I think that a lot of it had to do with my thinking at the time. Trying to come up real quick, do something fast, get some fast money and all like that. I got addicted to that very early. But through the grace of God, in fact, in what's today, the 31st, in 11 days, I will be celebrating 26 years of sobriety. And I am truly grateful. And I'm grateful for the 2 jobs that I have. I work for EDDR and I work for Rosecrans, a treatment center here in Winnebago County. And they allow me to give back that was so freely given to me. I get the opportunity to watch it, and every that is awful, but and this may sound a little crude, but better them than me, because one of the things I do know, I would not want to go through the torture of living as an active user, because shoot, I just turned 64. Can you remind me of trying to do this for another 30 years? I don't I don't think I could do that. So that's why I stay so close to it. I did the step work. I have a sponsor, which has a sponsor, which has a sponsor, and I am a sponsor, and I have sponsees. And I guess the most I want to end with this. I was celebrating my 19th year, and my son was about 13, and he was at the meeting with me, and he said this. He introduced himself, and he said, "Dad, I am so proud of you, because you show me what a man is supposed to be." And with that, I'm Richard, and I'll stick and stay.
Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. Thank you for taking time. I know you have another job as well, so I appreciate you, and I appreciate your story. And we're gonna move on to Eric Williams. He's gonna take the next 7 minutes to share his story.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Eric Williams. I'm a grateful recovering addict. Where do I begin? I am from the west side of Chicago, born and raised. And in lieu of Overdose Awareness Day, I just wanted to kind of share some backstory. I don't do a drug log either. My DOC or drug of choice was heroin. I loved it, but it didn't like me. But I was a athlete, went to private schools my whole life, did everything I was supposed to do. As far as school was concerned, as far as my athletic career, both parents in the household, and going into my senior year of high school, I shattered my kneecap. And so the basketball and all of my hopes and dreams were shattered in that moment. And my parents, both working people. I'm the youngest of three. They didn't understand trauma. They didn't understand, mental health with African-American people is something we don't talk about because the way we label it is you crazy, and in actuality, we're really not just dealing with something traumatic. So after that, I went on to college. I completed college, but I also, I'm born and raised from the west side, Madison and Cicero. And if anybody know what goes on in those areas, it ain't nothing nice. And I ducked all of that for many years because, I wanted to go away to college and I wanted to play ball. But those were my guys, my friends. So after being hurt, I threw myself into the streets and, had decent jobs and even got money on the street, but nothing replaced that euphoria that I got from playing basketball, running out with 10, 15,000 people watching me. And again, that was my dream. And I did everything right in order to fulfill that, but it was taken from me for whatever reason. But I said all that to say this, and, I started experimenting with drugs, and then I went to selling drugs, and then, I started using drugs, and my life spiraled out of control. And the reason I share my story is because I don't have any excuses other than the fact that the only thing I can equate was from me not being able to fulfill my lifelong goal of going to college and playing ball. The mental health piece kicked in and nothing replaced it. So I said all that to say this. Then for the next 20 years, in and out of jail, and even tried getting married, and I'm still apologizing to my ex-wife, and had kids and all of that good stuff. And I remember in the hearts of my addiction, two things I said: that my kids was better off without me. And, we try to make sense out of nonsense. And I said, you know what, this is just the hand I've been dealt and I got to play it. So I was cool with either catching a case and going to jail for the rest of my life or somebody ending my life in the streets. And that was my escape plan. But, God has a sense of humor. And the treatment facility I went to, it was called Illinois Department of Corrections. And I remember my last use date, November 3rd, 2001. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. One, I got arrested 2 other times on November the 3rd. You all know I don't come outside on November the 3rd anymore, right? But I was tired and I was done. And when the situation occurred and I got into the police car, I wanted to ask them what took them so long. I had been shot, stabbed, all kind of stuff had happened to me, and I knew I was through though. And that's when it all began. Since then, my story is crazy. I left the county jail, went to a correctional facility. Upon being released from that facility, I paroled to a recovery house. Being at that recovery house, I stayed there until I was able to get my own everything. And then I started working with an organization that I had been working with while I was incarcerated. 2 years later, back into the same correctional facility as an employee. And you talking about some guy stuff. I thought they was trying to trick me. They was gonna bring up one of them old cases, right? Them SOL cases that they used to bring up. And I remember praying to God and saying, God, you know, if anything gonna go down, don't put me in this position and then me do something crazy and embarrass the organization that gave me this opportunity. You know, for once in my life, I wasn't being selfish. And a year after that, I opened my first recovery house. Over the next few years, at one time I had 3 recovery houses, and I continued to work for that organization. And later on, after working for that organization, I transferred up to Beloit and worked for a not-for-profit up there, and as a site manager of a fatherhood program. Imagine that, me in charge of a fatherhood program. But nevertheless, after being there for a few years, I opened my first group home for kids. So right now I own 4 group homes for kids, and I'm an employee at EDDR as a site manager. And I say all that to say this, that there is life after death, you know. I am humble, I am grateful. And I remember my first sponsor, and I went to AA first. And he said, Eric, the one thing I need you to understand is the only thing you got to do perfect in this program is not pick up. And I hold true to that to this day. But the 12th step, every area of my life is about helping people, you know, every area. I'm so blessed and fortunate. I got an overachiever daughter. She's in law school as we speak with a master's degree and work for the government, you know. And it's not, and I have nothing to do with that. It's that thing called grace and mercy. And God kept her until I can get my life together to support her in her dreams and aspirations. A year and a half ago, I lost my brother to overdose. Last week, one of the young ladies who resided at my group home, she overdosed at 17 years old. Over the last 3 years, I've lost 7 family members to overdose. So this is near and dear to my heart because people at some point had the same rationalization that I had, that they couldn't beat this disease and that they were either gonna be in the penitentiary and so I just want everyone to understand that people are dying on a daily basis. After in a few minutes, I'll share some statistics with you of how the magnitude of overdose and how that affected the country and how it don't discriminate and it don't take no prisoners. Everyone who spoke before me, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being a part of this presentation, and that's all that I have.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate you taking the time to share your story with us and all of our guests who shared their stories. We're going to move right into our next session.
Yes, again, my name's Eric Williams, and I just was thinking about overdose and some of the important things that need to be mentioned in this presentation. And one of them is the areas to help. And I think oftentimes people don't know how to help, so they don't do anything. So I just wanted to educate people on some of the 5 things that people can, and I won't go over the whole presentation for the sake of time, but I will mention the 5 areas to help. And naloxone is the one, Narcan, it saves lives. But check this out, opioid now claims 188 lives in the US every day, and that may even be higher right now. And so, and the reason that naloxone is so important is because people can be in trouble and they can't even come out of the sleep to ask for help. So you have to really pay attention to people, and I'll give you the signs later of what to look for when a person is in overdose mode. The other one is medication for opioid use disorder can work. And again, decades of research show beyond doubt the overwhelming benefit of medication for opioid use disorder. I'm from the old school, and the old school in recovery was abstinence. Ben and Richard and a few other, even Everett, you all can attest to what I'm talking about. But fentanyl has changed the game, and it's harm reduction. And had I known this, I think my brother and a few other people, I may have had a different conversation with them about ways that they needed to work on their addiction or substance use disorder. Contingency management is effective treatment for stimulant use disorders. We don't have FDA-approved medication to treat stimulant use disorder, although opioids, especially fentanyl, still cause the majority of overdose deaths. Stimulants like methamphetamine and cocaine are increasingly showing up as contributors to an overdose. And that's because people are now lacing those drugs with fentanyl. 4, syringe services, SSPs, greatly mitigate harm of opioid use. Syringe services program, SSP, are another harm reduction approach backed by massive scientific research showing their effectiveness at reducing the transmission of infectious diseases like HIV, hepatitis C among people who inject opioids and other drugs. 5, prevention and intervention can have broad and lasting impact. With current addiction and overdose crisis, our country has been playing catch up, ramping up treatment and harm reduction services to stanch the tide of deaths and devastated lives. What is almost needed is prevention. What is also needed is prevention. And this is another area where research shows us the way to go. Addiction and age. About 4% of adolescents have a substance use disorder. The younger someone is when they begin using drugs, the more likely they are to develop addiction problems later in life. This may happen for a few reasons. Drug use can have harmful, lasting impacts developing brains. Early factors like trauma, mental illness that I spoke on, or family problems may exacerbate the likelihood. 21% of young women aged 12 to 17 indicate alcohol as their primary substance of abuse compared to 10% of young men. However, young men are more likely So, with that being said, many people think addiction is a young person's problem, but research shows that 25% of all prescribed medications are given to older patients. It estimated that the number of adults over 50 who need substance use treatment will increase 300% from 20 to 22. So here are some statistics, right? In 2018, National Survey of Drug Use and Health Breakdowns, the rates of substance abuse disorder by race. Asians, 4.8%. So when you think about the population of Asians in the United States, it's like 18.5 million. 6.9% Black or African Americans, there's 42 million African Americans in the United States. 7.1 of Hispanic or Latinos, which is 63 million. That number seems low. But anyway, 7.7% of whites, and there's 232 million white people in the United States. 9.3 Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islanders, and there's like 1.6, and then Native American or Alaskans, 10.1%. And the reason that I brought those numbers up, because when you look at the demographics, this not a respecter of person. So it ain't about no more, people who are in poverty or people from social or economics status are exempt from overdose. Recognizing the signs of opioid overdose can save a life. Here are some things to look for. Small, constricted, pinpoint pupils, falling asleep or losing consciousness, slow, weak, or no breathing, choking or gurgling sounds, limp body, cold and or clammy skin, discolored skin, especially lips, the lips and nails. So let's look at this chart. This chart is alarming. So the first chart, overdose death, and it shows the different drugs that people are overdosing from. And the first one is synthetic opioids, methadone, not methadone, other than methadone, primarily fentanyl. Do you see the spike from 2015 to, this was done in 2021. Significant spike. And then you got psychostimulants, you got cocaine, prescription opioids, benzos, heroin, antidepressants. So any drug basically that you can think of, people are now overdosing from because it's being cut with most of it is fentanyl. Now this one is going to blow you out your chair. So the national drug-involved overdose deaths number among all ages. So look at this. So you think about in 1999, right? It was a little bit less than 20,000 people a year overdosing, opposed to 2021. That is alarming, 106,699. And then I got the statistics from 2022, and it was 107,000. Just like 140,000 people in Rockford. So basically it'd take out a whole town or a whole city. So with that being said, here are some street names for fentanyl: APAS, China Girl, Chinatown, Dance Fever, Friend, Goodfellas, Great Bear, He-Man, Jackpot, King Ivory, Murder 8, Poison, and Tango and Cash. And again, so the young lady who overdosed at my house said that somebody gave her some fentanyl and told her it was a Skittle. So I brought those pictures up because, again, look at the way those multicolored pills look. And they could be mistaken for something other than. And then the first one is rainbow fentanyl pills. The other one is fake M30 pills. The thing about the fake pills now, years back, you could tell a fake pill because it would almost crumble in your hand. But now they're making them where they're coated, so it looks like a real pill. And that's why so many people are overdosing. So to the last one. Gloria.
You said you have one more slide?
I think so. It's not in there. Is that it?
Yeah, that was the last one.
Okay.
But you can go ahead if you have more to say. Yeah,
I just want everyone, first of all, thank you all again for being a part of this. Me and my staff, we wore purple today in observation of Overdose Awareness Day. something that I learned, Narcan isn't getting to the areas that it should be. And I tell people all the time, yeah, maybe you don't have a substance use disorder, but I'd rather you have it and not need it and not have it. So we have ramped up our efforts to get more Narcan throughout the city of Rockford. Last year, I got the numbers. There was 181 overdose deaths in Rockford. And that number is increasing every year. So with that being said, again, thank everyone.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for the discussion. Thank you for going over and educating us on all of those different drugs that we need to look out for, especially the street names. I hadn't heard of a lot of those names that you mentioned.
I had no.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for the education. At this time, we're going to do our wrap up in our discussion. We want to hear from you if you want to add something to the discussion. This would be your time now, if you like to add anything further.
If I may.
Yes, of course.
I really just wanted to thank everybody who shared today. Man, it's just my heart is heavy, Eric, seeing those numbers. 100 some thousand people a year just passing away, man, their lives leaving them. I tend to be a person who lives in the solution and not the problem, but that's why I'm grateful for everybody who shared. And you know, I am a person with lived experience too. And one of the things that I found that has been already discussed is going out and helping other people, extending yourself, getting out of your comfort zone. You know, I refused a ride for of somebody who's a kind of a prospect of mine in my home group because I had this meeting to go to, and I should have taken this guy and brought him to my house and have him sit here and listen to this because it was like a meeting on steroids, man. It's just wonderful to hear and hear about the recovery, and terrible to hear about these young people who are unwittingly giving their lives away because, as you had said, Eric, it's a game changer. That fentanyl, you know, just a couple of grains of that stuff and you're done. You're over, you know. I hate to think if I was a kid nowadays, I think that I might not be here, you know, because I was wild and just wanted to try everything once. And that's all it takes is once now.
Absolutely.
So, whew, wow. Anyway, I'm just overwhelmed, man. And I thank you all for sharing all the things you did.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. And I do want to share as well. As many of you know, on this past Saturday, my family buried my aunt. She was the matriarch of our family. One of the things that I don't know if I ever mentioned is that my aunt was an alcoholic, and she'd been an alcoholic since, you know, I can remember, since, you know, well before I was born. And one of the things, two things, someone said, you know, people think it's safe, you know, you can drink alcohol, but it kills more people than any other drug. And then someone else said, I think it was Everett, that, you know, people who use are the most talented people, you know, in the world. And my aunt, she did a lot of things in her lifetime. You know, she was definitely an alcoholic, but she did so many things. She was a DJ, she was a seamstress. I mean, she was just a lovely individual. She took care of myself and my brothers and sisters when my parents worked, and she did everything for my mom. And so, you know, but you know, she was an alcoholic, and um, she didn't die from an overdose, but she died as a result of other complications, you know, that came along from, you know, years of drinking and not taking care of herself. So this is definitely fitting, you know, for today, that we just buried her, and we're, you know, we're having this discussion. So I just want to thank everyone again on the call for their all of our guests. Jacqueline Sherrod, Everett Wilson, Richard Springs, and Eric Williams. Thank you guys so much. Does anyone else want to share?
My concern is, well, Pastor Sheila Brown from Rockford Black Chamber of Commerce. I'm sorry I hadn't been able to be on the calls with you guys, but this is a really heavy topic that is on my heart because I just had one of my daycare parents who just passed from an overdose. And, I'm having to watch her children come in crying every day because of the loss of their mom. So my question is, what services, are being provided for the families of those that have lost loved ones, maybe even children to overdose?
And
Do you know any wraparound services or, just asking?
and Eric, she's right in Rockford, Pastor Brown.
Yes. So, hey, Pastor Brown, how are you?
Good, sir. Good to see you again.
You also. So, if they're involved with CPS has services, counseling, and other wraparound services that are available for the children. I'm not sure if that, but also the health department has services for families of people who succumb to overdose as well. Did CPS get involved?
No, the grandmother had taken the children before CPS got involved. So there was kind of, the family intervention in that situation, but she just passed like last week. So, I was just trying to,
right?
excuse me?
You have my information?
No, Eric, I reached out through EDDR, but I can't get a hold. I couldn't connect with you. So if I could get your information, that would help.
Oh, absolutely. I'll check.
If you tried to reach out, I apologize. I didn't receive an email from you, Pastor Brown.
I will put in my information in the chat. I'll put my phone number in there and you can give me a call, please.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else want to share at this time?
I'm grateful for this opportunity to be on this call and to learn so much. I just really appreciate you, Gloria, for allowing this platform for all of us to share and be able to get information to better help service our community. Thank you so much.
No problem, Pastor Brown. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you. Okay, it's about 12:54. We've got about 6 minutes left, but if there's nothing further, once again, I want to thank everyone for joining this listening session for Overdose Awareness Day. Once again, sponsored by the Winnebago County ROSC and the Near South Side ROSC. I have everyone's contact information who's on the call, so I will be reaching out to all of you with our next events. Okay, and I'm just going to stop sharing here. And we're going to